This speech was delivered by Willie Lynch on the banks of the James River in the colony of Virginia in 1712. Lynch was a British slave owner in the West Indies. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods to slave owners there. The term lynching is derived from his last name. Greetings, gentlemen. I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I'm here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sails south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its highways in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasions. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple miles back. And you're not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprisings, slaves are running away, your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit, you suffer occasional fires, your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not have to elaborate. I'm not here to enumerate your problems. I'm here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 400 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among slaves, and I take these differences and I make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On the top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantations, status on plantations, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, on a hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old versus the old black male versus the young black male. The young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all black, but it's necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kids are your keys to control them. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen.
A couple of newborns all the way up to age 11. There's at least 11 mothers, probably more. He himself is just 29. Constitutionally, there's nothing the state can do to limit him from having children. This is his story. Desmond Hatchett has been to child support court a time or two.
I had 4 kids in the same year twice.
Today, his name appeared on the docket 11 times, representing about 15 of his 21 children. Can you keep up with it all?
Yeah.
You know all their names and ages and birthdays?
Yeah.
Hatchett is just 29 years old.
Because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Every attempt by black people in the Caribbean, the Americas, the United Kingdom, to improve their living conditions through the political, educational, and economic systems has been a failure. But at the same time, other ethnic racial groups have been successful in leading their people to an acceptable standard of living using those same systems. It is interesting to note that black Americans have been in the United States longer than most of the other ethnic groups, except the Native American Indian, but have still fallen behind every group in virtually every level of society. Leviticus 26:33, and I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Deuteronomy 28:25, The Lord shall curse thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them. And thou shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
The penalties of perjury. There you go. Excuse me. And what I have here is a confession by somebody that looks like they're still on extended parole as a habitual offender. After having a long...
I've been out of the joint a long time.
All these curses shall come upon thee, and God declares that Israel would be forcibly removed from their ancestral homeland and scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth as captives to these new lands, where they will dwell in the midst of people from all ethnicities, but not as a sovereign nation. This is another characteristic of the Israelites.
He turns tragic when a child is struck in 2 by a stray bullet.
The 4-year-old was sitting in church with his family when the bullet came through the roof of that sanctuary.
Miss Drama Queen here have lied on several of her statements, and I'd like to clarify that.
How you know that name?
Don't speak to her. Yes, he just told me not to speak to her, and I'm talking to the judge. First of all, when she got put out, I did not put her out because she had a baby. I put her out because she wanted to fight me in my house. She got up in my face.
Yeah, she's got an attitude. She's got an attitude.
More than a third of the black population in cities like Boston, New York, and Philadelphia lived in blind alleys, cellars, and lofts. The poor, unsanitary living conditions caused widespread health problems and shortened their lifespans. Deuteronomy 28:19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
Recovering addict, an ex-con, been to prison, did my time, paid my debt to society.
How long were you in prison?
3 years.
For what?
For drugs. I have been arrested 33 times.
33 times?
Misdemeanor.
Verse 20, the Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
My car to open up my door to get in my car. I heard my cousin scream my name from down the street. She said, Janisha, when I turned to look, the defendant swung at me, took a swing at me.
She took a swing at you.
She swung at me. Yeah, she swung and she connected, and she she swung and hit me in my left eye.
Swing off. Yep, I sure did. When I got done swinging off, I went to my car, took off my little sandals, and put on my Jordans. I sure did. Now I'm walking down the street, chasing him.
On paper, he has 20, possibly, as he just said, 21 children. With a minimum wage job, he can't afford to support all of his children. So what is the state to do? Volunteer TV's Amber Miller has...
Affiliation once determined your fate. Race is now playing a leading role in gang-related killings. As LA's Hispanic gang population grew, they went to war with black gangs for domination of the neighborhoods. That battle has now escalated to a race war.
Struck in the head by a stray bullet.
That was my only child. He's gone. He was only 4. I missed him. I loved him. He was so sweet.
Whatever, go to school and get your education. Don't follow my footsteps. Don't make the same mistake as I made.
Motherfucker, stay in school, nigga. If you want to bang, nigga, then you already know where it's headed, nigga. You already know where it's headed. We done lost too fucking much, nigga. Up or down, your mom and daddy ain't lying to you, fool.
With their kids and somebody else that took their lives. It's just hard out here. But it's like this every day, man, you know what I'm saying? It's not easy out here, you know what I'm saying? The homies is, everybody, niggas is dying, man, mamas is crying. We, what I'm saying? We need to come up with a solution to try and do something with this old bullshit.
There's I've seen about 30 planes already this morning. They're just dropping all kinds of chemical trails and stuff all over the skies. They've literally made a grid above the entire Phoenix area. So I'm trying to get the number to make a complaint with the FAA or someone.
Okay. I can get you the number for our flight standard district office.
Can you write this down, please? Okay, go ahead.
All right, hold on. I gotta look it up here.
This is where I can make this type of complaint?
This is where you can contact the Federal Aviation Administration.
Okay. Go ahead when you're ready.
Yeah, just give me a second here.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's a clear blue day, but yet the entire sky is covered with these trails from these planes that are going from one side of the city to the next, and they make X's and big grids over the city.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what this stuff is?
Actually, no, I haven't been outside for at least 2 or 3 hours.
Well, no, it's there like almost every day. I mean, if you just look up in the sky, you can see that like none of the clouds are real, and they're just made from these planes that just drop this stuff. And no one knows what it is. Yeah, no one can tell me what it is, or no one seems to care, or, you know, like you just look up in the sky, it looks like a painting. It looks like a painting. It's weird.
Wow. Okay. There is a Flight Standards District office located in Scottsdale, and their phone number is 480-419-0111.
Okay.
Okay. You can also contact them via email.
Alters your brain waves and causes hallucinations, and also affects, I think Lamar might have said this, affects your white blood cells. White blood cells. AIDS. Yes, brother. Mm-hmm. Anything in a pastel color is just like that low frequency white light. Pastels are designed to keep you calm. That's why schools are pastel colors. Pink. If you see pink, pink is more of an active color, like activated.
Europeans held the view that the horse and the African are no good to the economy unless they're broken. For the sake of an orderly future, notice I'm saying an orderly future. Special and particular attention must be paid to the female. Did y'all hear what I said? Special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the youngest offspring. Both must be crossbred to produce a variety of division and labor. Both must be taught to respond to a particular new language. Psychological and physical instruction of containment had to be created for both. You see, it goes this way. A wild horse, this is how the white man had this thing, and this is the late great Frederick Douglass put this together. A wild horse, or a wild or natural African, in the mind of the slaveholder was dangerous. Even if they were captured, they were dangerous. For why was that? Because they still had the tendency to seek their customary freedom. And in the process of seeking their freedom, a horse in its natural state or an African in its natural state would kill that slaveholder. So therefore, to ensure their safety, both had to be broken. They felt that we can't rest. We dare not sleep, because they sleep while you're awake, and while you're awake, they're asleep. So these Africans are dangerous near the family house. And it's too much labor to watch them away from the house, and you can't get them to work in their natural state because they want to be free. That's natural, y'all, to want to be free. Something's really wrong when you got an African who does not want to be free. And yet I see so many of ours today who don't want to be free because they're comfortable on the plantation. They don't want to be free. So, how does this breaking take place? The whole purpose of breaking the African was for the sake of taking the body, and messing up the mind. Did y'all hear that? Break the will to resist. Break it. Now the breaking process, again, according to the slaveholder, was the same for the African as it was for the horse. Same process. In other words, this thing is so deep how they go. It actually says, you must keep your eye and thoughts on the female. Sisters, you got to understand how important your role is. Their agenda was keep your eye on the black female and on the offspring of the horse and the female. Pay little attention to the generation of the original breaking. In other words, those first few people that you broke, don't pay them no mind. Your goal is on future generations. Therefore, if you break the female mother, this is Willie Lynch's concept, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. Did y'all hear that? If you break the female mother, she will break her own offspring in the early years of its development until it's old enough to work. And when it is old enough to work, she will deliver her own offspring up to the slaveholder, because her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. It goes on to say, for example, take the wild stud horse, a female horse, and an already infant horse, and compare the process with two captured African males in their natural state. Now check this out. This is going to make you a little angry. Two African males in their natural state, a pregnant African woman with her infant offspring. It goes on to say, breed the mare and the stud until you have a desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse where she will eat out of your hand. And she in turn will train her infant horse to eat out of your hand also. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized African, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of mind. Check this, what they did. Take the meanest and most restless African. Y'all see this in your head now. Take the meanest and most restless African, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male Africans and the females and the African infants. Tar and feather him. Tie each leg to a different horse, faced in opposite directions. Set him afire and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the other Africans while they're looking at him. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining African males to the point of death in front of the females. Y'all hear this? Don't kill them though, but put the fear of God in them. Now I wonder what God about. Don't kill them, because they can be, it says here, they can be useful for future breeding. The breaking process of the African woman. Take the African female, check this out now, and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires. White man. Test her in every way, because she is the most important factor for good economics.
All right.
Y'all hear this? The black female is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of resistance out of her.